Welcome to Conversations with David Ibarra. Today we have a very special guest, Lindsay White, the owner, president, CEO, bottle washer, and do everything with her company, the Little Milk Bar.
Yeah, hi. I'm here. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure having you, Lindsay. What I'd like to do is just dive right in and talk about your history from school, education, college, what you thought you wanted to do, what you did, and then what happened to make you change and say, I'm going all in on my own and dare to open your own small business.
Okay, start from the very beginning. What was the first one? Education, school, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I grew up in Kearns, Utah, graduated from Kearns. I got a softball scholarship and basketball scholarship my first year of college at a school in Colorado. I finished 4 years at Dixie playing softball. I got my degree in business. I was just in school and I'm like, I need to pick a degree and I don't know what I want to do, but business is pretty general. So I did business and then I needed to pick a minor and I'm like, I'll do graphic design. That sounds kind of fun. Thank goodness I did because I use it every day now. But after I graduated, I came home and I wanted a job like every college kid. And I'm like, how can I find a job that's looking for exactly what I have right out of college? And I got a job working at a water filtration company. I was a project manager managing multi-million projects. And it was cool for a while because I had a good paycheck and I felt successful for my age. But then after about 4 years, I realized I didn't love that and I wanted something different. At this time, I now had my daughter, which is also weird and crazy because I never wanted to get married or have kids, but I ended up marrying my college sweetheart and we had our daughter, Allie. Allie was about 1 year old. And I was at work one day and I was just thinking, man, I hate coming to work every day. At first it was exciting and it was fun because I could travel, which I had never really traveled before. I'd never done anything much other than play softball. And
I understand you were a pretty good softball player.
Yeah, I was okay. I was all right. But yeah, I just got to a point where I didn't enjoy coming anymore. And I was like, this is not worth a paycheck for me. And I started to think about my dad and how he owns his own business. And I loved that when I had softball games, he could come. And I feel like if he had a regular 9 to 5, he wouldn't be able to be at my games if they were in Arizona. Or which one did you
Nebraska.
You came to one of my basketball games.
By the way, we need to make a clarification here. Lindsay is my niece.
Oh, yes.
One of my favorite nieces.
Yep.
And also the daughter of my younger brother.
Yes. And so my dad owns a flooring company, and I just loved that when I had games in college, he could come. And with having my daughter, I went back to work 3 months after having her. And I remember just thinking, man, this really sucks, being away from her. And I had to drop her off at a daycare with someone I obviously interviewed her and met her, but they don't care for your child the way that you will. And so I was like, you know what? I want to start a business. And I saw people doing it on Instagram. They would start like Etsy shops and they would market it via social media. This is like way back in the day, like 2014, I want to say, when it was kind of new. And so I was sitting at my desk and I'm thinking, I think I can make like baby leggings. So I'm going to try that. I was Googling on YouTube and I Googled how to cut and sew baby leggings. And I watched like 6 videos. And then I went online and I Googled how to order custom fabric. And I found a website that you could order custom fabric with. And I designed like 4 different prints, like just for fun that I liked. And I ordered them, cut and sewed, I think 100 baby leggings in a weekend and put them up on an Etsy shop. and they didn't sell. I was like, this is going to be it. I'm going to do great. I'm going to start this business.
What was the name?
It was called Lot 801.
Lot
801. And it was baby leggings on Etsy. And I ran that business parallel to my full-time job for about a year, maybe a year and a half. And I was like, you know what? I really want this to be my full-time. And I don't want to have to come into work anymore. I hate it here. So I chatted with my husband and I'm like, what do you think if I just go all in? And I quit. And I'm like, I realize I'm not making any income from my business yet. So this will be a huge risk.
And if I'm not mistaken, you were making an income that only about 10% of Americans achieve.
Yes.
That bracket.
Yes.
So it wasn't like you were walking away from a low or mid-level job. You were walking away from a job that some, if they got to that number,
Oh, yeah.
over $100,000, they would be pleased. You walked away from that.
Yeah. And that was hard because growing up, we didn't grow up with a lot of money. And so graduating at college and then getting that job that had that high salary felt like I'd made it, like I did something with my life. Then we built this house. And I was the sole, I mean, my husband was in the hotel industry, but his career wasn't taking off yet. I think he was still working maybe front desk to work his way up. So he didn't have a good salary. I was the breadwinner. So it was a very big risk. It was a year after we built our house and we thought, okay, what worst case scenario, if this doesn't work out, what's going to happen? We lose our home. And I'm very thankful I had an amazing partner who was super supportive. And he said, who cares? It's just stuff. We move into an apartment. And he's like, I believe in you. You can do this. And so I quit my job and went full force into Lot 801, the baby leggings. And I thought, because I quit my job, now I'm serious. And now I have more time to work on it. I can make this a real business and make some income. But that didn't happen. I thought for sure it would. And I think 3 years went past where I still was not able to make an income and we were running out of money. And to be honest, completely very close to losing everything. We can lose the house. How are we going to pay our mortgage next month? What are we going to do? Do I quit and go get a real job? At this time, I had found out I was pregnant with my second.
Oh, timing was excellent.
Yeah. All right. And another mouth to feed. And
insurance.
Yeah. Yes. So honestly, the second pregnancy really is what catapulted everything. So this is where the story kind of really begins is I was pregnant with my son, Coda. I didn't know he was my son yet. We didn't find out the sex. But when I had my daughter, Allie, the first time, she was 5 years older. I hated breastfeeding and it wasn't fun, and I just had a lot of struggles.
First, I want to come back. I want you to come back. When did you dare to take a look at the current company that you were in as an obstacle that needed to be adjusted or changed, and dare to put it to the side and figure out, okay, what would cause a tension, or what would be that one
something
thing.
has to change, right?
Something
like
has to change.
if we continue.
Tell me about that process.
Okay, so it was a lot of things. Obviously, not having the income, not knowing. So I remember sitting down a lot, reading a lot of books. I think you recommended one of the first books was the 17 Keys to Success, I think.
Keys to Success.
Yeah. And reading that really got my brain going. And I remember honestly sitting in the shower a lot of nights crying, thinking something needs to come to me. I know there's something there. What am I missing? Because I know I have the ability to do it, and I'm a hard worker. If I can find that one thing that works, I know it will work. I think during this time, you and I also had a conversation. I came down and we had lunch one day, and you were like, you gave me some guidance and some words of encouragement and kind of helped me shift my mind on.
You were kind of a little mad at me, it looked like.
Mad? No, I think it's hard because when you work so hard on something for so long and you hear things you don't want to hear, it's hard.
You got to say goodbye.
Yeah.
I want to point out something that you said earlier. you made the decision in the shower, crying, the different things that you went through, the absolutely fear and disappointment that something didn't work, but knowing time to close that door. And then you said something just really important, I think, that I asked something to come to me. You asked, and it's funny how the universe works, and whether it's a mastermind alliance, whether it's the reticular activating system, whether it's divine, whatever it is, when you ask, a nudge comes, a thought comes. Tell me about that.
So that was a lot. I would talk about it all the time. I even remember, because at this time I still wasn't making any income. So I pulled out my checkbook from the business, and I remember thinking, if I could just cover our mortgage a month, like that's all I need, $2,500 a month, and we'll be okay. So I wrote on my checkbook $25,000, and I took it out and I taped it on my ceiling. So every morning when I woke up, it was the first thing that I saw. When I went to bed at night, it was the last thing I saw. And I was very intentional, like with my journaling even. Like every morning I'd wake up and I'd write my intentions for the day. I would write down that number that I was looking for every day, and then I'd go into my to-do list. But it was constantly talking about it, constantly asking Pete, like, what am I missing? When I'm driving to work, instead of listening to music, I would think, like, what is it that I'm missing?
So you were in a constant seeding of your subconscious, giving it the direction. Find me the way. Find me the path.
Yes.
Continue.
Yes. So, so I was pregnant with Coda, and I was looking for this thing that I needed to find that I knew was there, and I just didn't know where to look. And this thought came to my mind where I was like, oh man, with my first baby, I struggled a lot. The first 18 months was hard. And I'm like, well, why is this so hard? Oh, the breastfeeding was hard. I didn't know anything about it. I felt isolated all the time, always in a private room feeding. So I never got to hang out with friends or go to dinner with my family. I'd always get up and leave the table. And I was like, okay, I'm pregnant with my second. I know I'm going to have another breastfeeding journey. So I made a promise to myself right then that I would have more confidence this time. And that changed my entire world. When he was born, we'd go to the restaurant and I'd feed him, and I didn't care what people thought. So
isn't it amazing how some can be so shallow as to make that even an issue?
Absolutely. It is crazy. But it's a whole conversation. Yes. The society on seeing women breastfeed with it, like that's literally what our bodies are made for. Yeah. It's not okay, but if you walk by in a swimsuit, it's all
nourishing
good.
an infant.
It's how your baby survives. So I was at a wedding and I was breastfeeding Coda, and my mom came over to me and she said, Lindsay, I don't think you should be doing that here. You should go to the bathroom and do that. And I remember looking at her, and in that instant, I thought to myself, if she had said this to the 5-year-ago Lindsay, the new mom Lindsay with my first daughter, I would have gotten up, been mortified, in tears, embarrassed, and went right to the bathroom and fed, because I'm like, oh, she's right. People are staring. But I was very thankful that this time around I had more confidence. And instead, I just looked at her and said, no, thanks. We're comfortable where we're at. So on my drive home from that wedding, at this time I still was doing the Etsy shop, had the leggings, was still looking for that one thing I was missing. And I remember talking to my husband in the car, and I was like, that's what I need to do. And he was like, what? And I said, there needs to be a brand out there that empowers breastfeeding moms. Like if I had just one friend tell me when we went out to lunch with our friends, hey, you don't have to go to the car and feed, you can just feed right here. That would have relieved so much stress. It would have made my life so much easier and enjoyable, and I wouldn't have hated breastfeeding. And so I said, I want to be that best friend for every new mom. To one, tell her her rights, that she can breastfeed in public. It's her legal right. And two, to give her the permission and cheer her on. And so I went home and worked on like a whole new design. I came out with a boobs baby blanket first. And it was kind of supposed to be like if I'm wearing this cover, it's because I want to wear it, not because you're telling me I need to.
Right.
It was, this is what makes me feel comfortable, not you. Because it's kind of funny. Someone
Yeah.
tells you to cover up. Okay, I'll cover up, but there's boobs all over it. So, and those, I sold more of that product in 30 days than I did of any other product in the whole 12 months. So I said, okay, that's it. That's what I've been looking for. And so I completely rebranded, let go of Lot 801, changed my name to the Little Milk Bar, let go of the leggings. And then I came out with a shirt it just says Milk Maker on it. And it's on this cute pink shirt. And I had no idea what I was doing. Never done t-shirts before. I'm like calling around everyone in Utah, print shops. Hey, what's the minimum order quantity? How much is this going to cost me? Again, I had like no money. Mm-hmm. So they're like, I found this print shop here. And they're like, you have 24 units. We can order 24 units. That's your least. And I'm like, okay. So I ordered 24.
So you ordered 24 shirts.
Yes. Yes. Put them up.
So a unit isn't 10.
No.
A unit is 1.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
24 shirts, put it up on my website. And they sold out in like 24 hours, which is the first time I've ever had any sort of traction to the website like that.
How did it feel to sell out?
Oh, it was amazing. To like say that we sold out of something, it was like, oh, this is what I've been craving for. But then so like I tripled up on inventory and I'm like, oh, this will last us, at least a month or two and we'll see where this goes. And that sold out in 48 hours. So I was like, okay, people need this brand as much as I need this brand. I'm not the only one struggling with this problem. There are millions of moms out there struggling with this problem. And obviously women are connecting to this and they're wanting this. So I just kept going. Then I started.
Well, I remember the phone call you called me and I was lightly mentoring you and, which is my business. And you called and you had this excitement in your voice where I knew this was the time for me just to listen, not say a word because I wasn't going to get a word in edgewise anyway. But you said, Uncle Dave, I found my one. Mm-hmm. I found my one. And when you explained it to me, just in about 2 minutes, it was so obvious because it was an issue that supplied a solution and a conversation.
Yeah.
Wow. Doesn't get better than that.
No, it doesn't. I remember my dad, he was like, a t-shirt, why would I do it? I'm like, Dad, it's not the t-shirt. It's what it stands for. It's it's the meaning behind it. And so at the time, it was actually kind of hard to market my product because on social media, they didn't allow photos of breastfeeding moms. Mm-hmm. And so almost everything that I posted would get taken down, which was really unfortunate because that was the whole purpose of the brand, is to normalize breastfeeding, but yet no one's allowing us to even talk about it. And so I kind of turned it around and brought awareness to that point because there's angry moms out there that also agree that it shouldn't be hushed. It shouldn't be censored. It shouldn't be taken down. So
you were touching into emotions,
yes,
joy,
yes,
and anger, both.
Absolutely, yeah.
Cool.
So I put up a petition on petition.org, and we got like 28,000 signatures in a matter of a few weeks. And we made noise. We weren't going to be quiet about it. So Instagram had to take notice, and they changed their policies to now include breastfeeding photos and videos.
So you're responsible for the change of that policy within Instagram?
Yes, in parallel with, there was my friend Katie who was working on the same thing but for birth. So they were censoring birth photos. Empowered Birth Project was what she was working on. And so we were kind of working together on also the breastfeeding side of that. And so now you can, but it was hard at the beginning to market a product that you can't market. How do you do that? Well, okay, let's bring awareness to this and get loud.
So with that being done, all those blue little cubicles at the airport that look hideous.
The mother's rooms?
That was direct to the mother's rooms.
Yeah.
They're portables I see everywhere. You're going to put them out of business.
No, well, you know what? I don't hate those. And do you know why?
Okay.
Me personally, I don't use them. I feel comfortable breastfeeding in public, but there
Yes.
are some women who don't.
Yes.
And for those
Great.
women who don't feel comfortable, they should be able to feed however they want, and at least they're not feeding in a bathroom.
Yes.
That is the last thing. We do not want mothers feeding in dirty bathroom stalls. No one would go sit in a bathroom stall and eat their lunch. Why would we feed our baby in there?
Well said.
So with these portable mothers' rooms, they're great for women who just don't feel comfortable yet, but at least they have a room that's comfortable and is not a bathroom because that's gross.
Yeah, that image is in my head is gross.
Yeah, it is.
I don't go in there to eat a sandwich.
No one would. So I don't know why we would expect mothers to.
When did you know that financially this was going to work? Was it the first month? Was it the first quarter? What told you, and when did you look at a financial statement that you had to just prop up and put your feet on a table and just stare at it because you couldn't believe there was a bottom line?
Yeah. So I would say we struggled for a while, right? And we didn't know what we were going to do. But the business started to produce a little bit of money. And the moment I was able to take little things off the table, maybe I wasn't making my mortgage yet, but I was able to take on our phone bill and some of the utilities and fix the heater that was broken or whatever that was. That was the moment where I'm like, okay, I'm able to help provide for my family. So if I can get this far, I know that I can keep going. So there was a moment, I would say about a year, probably a year and a half into the Little Milk Bar, where I remember sitting down, my brother was over, Pete was in the kitchen with me, and I had my Excel spreadsheet pulled up. And I have a spreadsheet that I have where I pull up and it shows month to month from year to year. And we had a month that was just amazing. Like I would never know that it was our first 5-figure month that we had done. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. So then I was looking at my trends and I'm like, if we continue to do this well, it was the month of April that we had done that. Then by the end of this year, we could be it was like some astronomical, like crazy number that I was so oblivious to because it doesn't go like this. It goes like this. And I just kept thinking, oh, we're going to be like at 100,000 by the end of the month on a monthly basis. And that didn't happen. But having that first 5-figure month showed me the possibility of growth. And so that was the moment that I realized I know that I could make this more and make a better income. So I would say probably 2 years after I started the Little Milk Bar was when I was able to start paying mortgage. And this is when COVID hit. So in 2020, my husband was now a general manager for Hilton. And he was managing hotels. He was getting run down. They had to let go of all their staff. No one was traveling, and he was having to clean rooms, do the front desk, do everything. His mental health was not good. I sat him down and I said, if you give me 1 year, I promise you I can make this work. And I said, quit your job, be a stay-at-home dad, because at the moment I was taking care of the kids and managing the business, and it was too much. I didn't have the time to do what I needed to do. So he said, okay, like I think I'm up for that. I'm kind of done anyways. He was so overwhelmed with everything, working 20-hour days sometimes. And he's got a great temperament and patience. He has the best patience. I don't, on the other hand.
Well,
but
I do.
You do?
Oh, just a little humor.
I'm like, okay. But yeah, he was like, okay, I think that we can do that. So he quit his job in April of, I think it was 2020 or maybe, it was 2020. Yeah, 2020. And we said we had a plan for 1 year that if I could double the business, then we were just going to leave him stay-at-home dad so I could continue to do what I needed to do. And we did. We grew the business by more than double that year. I think the first year we did, like my very first year as the Little Milk Bar, we did like $68,000 in sales. And so the year that Pete quit, I think was our first six-figure year. And I want to say it was like maybe like 300,000. And then just from him quitting that one year was our first $1 million year that we had done.
Wow. Now, where are you? That happens. You become a believer. You're working out of your home, I believe, and you had a warehouse. Then you decided to go even a step further. Tell me about that.
Like getting my office?
Yeah.
Well, working from home is hard, and anyone who has done it knows, especially when you have kids, and especially when you're going through a pandemic. You're having to be teacher, mom, business owner, all of the things. And so I was like, you know what? I can't do this at home anymore. Even when I go in my room and shut the door, or in my office and shut the door, I'm not getting done what I need. So I said, I need to get out of here. It was scary because it's just another expense and you don't really know if it will work or not. And so I started just looking. I hired an assistant and I asked her to help me find a place. And she said, okay. So we ended up finding a place that was like 10 minutes from my home and it was available. Actually, no, the first place I found, I was like, this is it. This is the one. It's perfect. And the price was just right. And I took a while to put in an offer because I was really scared. I think I waited like 2 months by the time I put the offer in, it was taken. Yeah. And it was taken. So then I was devastated. I'm like, man, I really messed up. I lost the one that I could afford. But then this other one came available and it was 1,000,000 times better than the first one.
Perfect.
And less expensive than the first one. So it worked out.
So there was a reason.
There was a reason. Always a reason. There's always a reason. And then so I remember the day I signed my lease, I was so nervous. Like, oh man, this is a big commitment because it's like a 2-year commitment. And I'm like, hey, but what if we're...
So a 2-year commitment.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Make me a promise right here that you won't ever lease again.
That I will buy?
Yes.
Oh man, when I get to your level, then
No, you're at that level.
Buying is scary.
No,
it's a whole new world for me.
Yeah, well, whatever you're paying will pay the mortgage, and in 20 years, you'll have yourself several $1 million in a facility.
It is on my list. I have a list of goals that I want.
If you need a little push, you come and see me again.
I know where to come.
So how long have you been in there?
So I moved in September of last year. So
perfect.
Yeah.
Tell me about how did the sales go once you left home, went into a work facility, a work environment, a culture of how have your sales?
Well, there was a mixture of moving into the first office as well as hiring on customer service for me. Right. So at that, for a long time, I was still the only one doing customer service.
Yes.
And answering emails every day is not my better use of time. I have designs to work on, new products, and I couldn't because I was doing that. So I hired on a gal to manage my customer service. And that was a huge, wow, now I have time to really work on the business. And then I got the office. I promoted my assistant, Tati, from assistant to operations manager. She took off a lot of the workload for me. And it was insane. We came out with our first product that I designed from start to finish. It's called the Alley Bra. And I named her after my first daughter. Mm-hmm. But this is a crazy story because I really, again, minimum orders because I don't have investors. I don't have a ton of capital, and it was a risk. I've never released anything other than merchandise before. And so I designed this bra, got it manufactured, ordered the minimum pieces that I could for 3 different colors. And I remember having calls with my team, my customer service team, and my fulfillment center. And I'm like, hey, we're releasing these on Monday. And we'll have a boost of sales, but we don't plan to sell out. We plan to have these inventory to the end of next month at least. Mm-hmm. So just be ready for the influx of sales, but we won't sell out. And we released them at 5:00 at night on a Sunday, I believe. And we sold out in 2.5 hours.
All of them?
every single one.
Everything you had.
And that was another big moment where I was a ball baby, honestly, because everything's a risk, and I'm like, hey, I'm taking all this money that we've been able to make from the business. Let's invest it into a new product and see how it does. And then for it to sell out like that just reiterated everything that I had been working for.
So you reloaded quickly, I hope.
Yeah. Yes, I did.
Cool.
We still can't keep them in stock. We just released another one 2 weeks ago with like 10,000 units, and they sold out in 2 weeks.
Wow.
So
incredible.
Keep
Well,
going.
I got to tell you something. One of my favorite movies I was watching was a movie called The Intern. And
I love that
when
movie.
I watched that movie, I thought to myself, that's Lindsay.
I love that.
That's Lindsay. I can't remember the actress who played
Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway, and how De Niro, who was the intern and had experience and wisdom that never gets old.
Yeah.
But he had been displaced, and he became a mentor to her and just cautioned her to continue to do what you believe in, and you got to give some parts that aren't your talent, aren't your love, to somebody who it is their love and their talent, so that you can grow bigger, badder. And I'll tell you something, you're a badass. I love
Thanks.
it. So that'll conclude our conversations with David Ibarra, and this was one of my favorite episodes because it's one of my favorite people. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It was fun.